Hi, and welcome back to Ion Radio. I'm Ken, and today I'm bringing you a special Monday episode here where we're going to go over WizKids Star Trek Into the Unknown Glory and Zeal campaign expansion. We've got a couple sneak previews to show you that'll include character cards for Daymar and Dukat. We've got the Klingon directive cards. Those are mostly the same, akin to what you're going to find in Rising Tensions, with one change, and we'll get to that in a second. We can announce that there are 4 ships in there. We have the Nangvar, a bird of prey, the Galor class, and the Grumal freighter. And then we also know that coming up in a future kind of preview, we're going to know more about Cardassian cunning, which is going to provide some new layers of intrigue and negotiations in your future games. And then we also know that there's going to be some campaign stuff. It is a campaign expansion, so we kind of expect that. So let's take a little look at what we have to show you. All right, let's get to it here with the Glory and Zeal campaign expansion and what we can spoil for you here on Ion Radio. All right, I'm really excited to show you some of these new digital renders that we have, including our 2 exclusive card sets that we get to spoil. I am going to say this right now, though, as a note that, again, because these are digital renders, we may not be seeing the final product images, and anything we do see is subject to change. That said, let's get into the ships. First thing here is a Galor-class cruiser. Okay, Galor-class cruisers are, of course, the primary warship we see throughout Deep Space Nine for the Cardassian military. You get kind of that stingray-type look from the top. Now, based on lore, we know that this is probably not going to be as powerful as, say, the Galaxy class, but definitely would be more than a match for the Miranda that we have in Rising Tensions or the Bird of Prey. I'm going to guess it's probably somewhere between that and the Vorcha-class Klingon cruiser in terms of armament and capability. We don't yet have any information on that, so these are just guesses at this point. But I do think that they have a beautiful model here that's going to be fun to field. Looks like a medium base. The second ship is the Grumal. This is a freighter that was used by Gul Dukat. If I recall correctly, this is after he was demoted. He had his illegitimate daughter, I do not recall her name at all, that he brought back to Cardassia Prime. And I know that Daymar was first officer on that. We're going to see both Dukat and Daymar's cards in a little bit. Memory's a little sketchy, but I think this was late Season 3, early Season 4 when we saw this. So probably not going to be a very heavily armed ship. But again, if memory serves, I think they had some like disruptors or something on it that they used to fire against a bird of prey. So there's probably going to be something on this ship. Now, the Grumal was specifically a title for one of the ships. I don't know if that was the class name for it or not, but needless to say, I'm looking forward to seeing the ship and what it can do in the course of the game. Definitely a small base. So this ship is kind of an enigma. We only really saw it the one time in Deep Space Nine, so I'm curious to see how they're going to implement this particular ship within the course of the game. Probably be some kind of special mission, or there may be tech available only for this ship that's going to allow it to be a powerhouse. Maybe it's speed, maybe it's special weaponry, but again, we're going to wait to see as we get new reveals. Right now, these are sneak peeks, and this is all we have available. So let's get to the next ship. We do know that there will be a Klingon bird of prey, and I'm going to make the assumption that it's going to be identical to the one in Rising Tensions. So we're going to jump right to the 4th ship, which is the Nangvar. We do have 2 different views. We have an assembly view and a put together view. This definitely looks to be a large base for the Nangvar, which suits the size of the ship. We do know that the Nangvar was the flagship of the Klingon fleet, and this was commanded by General Martok. Although I think that might have actually been a changeling posing as him. I don't remember exactly where that may have happened, but in either case, definitely tells me it's time for a rewatch of Deep Space Nine. So kind of hard to tell from just looking at the pictures, but we do know that the Nengvar is going to be a little bit bigger than the Enterprise D, and I'm going to guess is going to be very heavily armed. We're probably going to see several disruptor banks, torpedoes, cloaking devices, and if I'm going to guess, probably one of, if not the most heavily armed ship in the game. All right, now that we're done with the ships, let's get into our exclusive sneak peeks here with our officer cards. We have both Dukat and Daymar. Both of them look interesting, couple similarities, and a few things I'm going to point out as we go through that. So let's start with Dukat. Dukat, of course, is the former commander of Deep Space Nine, which was at the time known as Tarek Nor. Dukat has faction alliance with the Cardassians and the Dominion. Makes sense given the entire storyline through Deep Space Nine. And doing a quick run through his stats, social skill of 2, and security and technical skill of 1. He does show a command role, and of course has sway with both the Cardassian and Dominion forces. Health of 1, costs 12 points. The thing I find fascinating about the back side here of Dukat's card, you'll note that there's a Klingon symbol here instead of a Cardassian one. Now, we have seen something similar to that on T'Rul's card. She was the Romulan in the Rising Tensions expansion. However, I would have expected to also see the Cardassian symbol here. So I'm not sure if that limits Dukat. When you're looking at the front of the card, we see Cardassian and Dominion, which is where you can, the fleet factions that he's allowed to be part of, specifically when you're building your fleets. However, he belongs to the Klingon Empire. So I'm curious to see if there's some gameplay stuff with this or a scenario built around this. Now, again, this is a digital render, not the final card. So I'm wondering, is this a misprint or is this very intentional? Because it is possible that Dukat's working with the Klingons. So we're going to run under the assumption that this is correct, and we're going to kind of work through that. But let's look at his ability here. So during setup, you secretly choose one of your trust tokens. We've got 1 through 4, and replace it with Dukat's trust token. When Dukat's trust token is resolved, each accompanying player's unit adds 2 disadvantage tokens. And then at the end of the game, we reveal the replaced trust token, and if you have scored exactly that many negative victory points, you remove those victory points. So what you're effectively doing here is you're kind of guaranteeing that you are going to score 1 to 4 negative victory tokens. This allows you to strategize in terms of you're going to flip one of your directive cards, and it's going to cost you 2 negative tokens to do so. You can go ahead and do that at any time, knowing that you'll be able to remove those later. So it's a sneaky little ability, along with being able to potentially force the opponent, or at least those accommodating your hail, to get some disadvantage tokens. I think that's all we're going to say about Dukat. Let's move on to Daymar. Daymar, of course, was Dukat's right-hand man during the show. Let's take a look at his stats. Similar command pips to Dukat, we have the exact same skill set, role, and sway, along with faction identities. We don't see the costing on him yet, so still a couple things to reveal down the road. Backside of the card, same thing. We've got a lot that's hidden, but we can see that he's also Diplomacy 2, Ordnance 1, has Fieldcraft, and Mechanics. There is something, too, hiding behind him, and it does look like the skill that's there. I see Daymar, at least I think that's Daymar, so this is going to be something specific to him. Akin to what Dukat has, you have a tailored ability for the character. Now, we do note that we've got the Cardassian and Dominion iconography up here in the upper right of his card. This is where I'm questioning if Dukat is a misprint or Dukat is a special case. And we're going to have to wait for more spoilers before we're going to know the answer to that. Our next thing to spoil here are additional Klingon directive cards. So looking at rising tensions, if you look at the hostile side of the Klingon cards, you have the exact same ones. It is a good day to die, actions surpass words, and deeds worthy of song. Now, all of the hostile directives are the same. No difference, at least none that I can see, to the set of Klingon directives that came in Rising Tensions. However, when we take a look at the calm side of the directives, uphold the Empire's oaths and boisterous demeanor both look to be the same card. The reverse side of deeds worthy of song in Rising Tensions has glory awaits, dealing with honor guard and boarding teams or repair teams. In Glory and Zeal, Protect Cardassian Interests talks about military order teams, science ministry team, obsidian order team. This is different from the back of the card, deeds worthy of song from Rising Tensions, in that it's Rising Tensions had glory awaits. Here in Glory and Zeal, we have Protect Cardassian Interests. And remember, these are all Klingon directive cards. Military order team, science ministry team, and its obsidian order team are not found in Rising Tensions. So these are either going to be the military order team anyways, or science ministry are either new Klingon teams, or given that the third team here is an obsidian order team, these may be all Cardassian teams that could be part of your Klingon away teams. So this may be another way to bring Cardassian forces into the Klingon faction. This kind of goes hand in hand with Dukat being able to be used by the Klingons, even though he's Cardassian and Dominion focused. So now, all that said, could this be, again, as this is a digital render, a Cardassian combat directive as opposed to a Klingon one that just got mixed in with the bunch? We don't know. It could be a new version of the Klingon card, as I've kind of assumed, but this might just be a sneaky way of showing us here's the Cardassian one. So I already have some questions out. We'll find out, and then I'll post information into the comments below. And then here is the box art and packaging for Glory and Zeal. On the box art here we have the Grumal, the Galore, the Bird of Prey, and the Nangvar as our ships. And our three characters up on top, Galmud Red, who was in the episode with Jean-Luc Picard and the 4 Lights, or was it 5? Gul Dukat and General Martok. No information yet on when this will be released, but we do know that this is the first set of reveals that we're doing today for Glory and Zeal. All right, that's everything we have to spoil and kind of show as a preview here for Glory and Zeal, the upcoming campaign expansion for Star Trek Into the Unknown by WizKids. I want to take this opportunity to thank the folks at WizKids for giving us here at Ion Radio a few things to spoil to everyone at home that's very interested in learning more about Star Trek Into the Unknown and all the upcoming campaign expansions. I know John and I have already had some chats on this. We're really excited to see how the Cardassians play. Just give us a different faction to kind of learn and explore and understand how they're going to function differently. I'm personally looking forward to seeing the directive cards for the Cardassians because that'll help really dictate some of the play. But as we've already seen in with Dukat there on his card, where we had the information about how many hidden tokens you have and then being able to score that later. I mean, there's some interesting things here at play that I'm looking to check out. All right, if there are more things that you guys are interested in knowing or comments you have on the stuff that I was able to reveal to you today, leave that information in the comments below. We'll do our best to try and answer some of your questions, as well as maybe talking to the designers or some of the folks at WizKids and see what kind of information they're willing to give us as we move forward before the release here of Glory and Zeal. All right, guys, until next time, I'm Ken, and you've been watching Ion Radio.